be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited. Yeah, as you mentioned, I was just a regular person working at a corporate for many years. I was always interested in fitness, but my fitness was, I would say, atypical. I was not really following anyone else's programs, but for years, throughout the years, I developed kind of my own style that combined a little bit of dancing, some high intensity training, and just body weight exercises. And for the first 20 years, it really worked well for me. I was quite fit. People always stopped and asked me, well, what is it that you do? You should share. And for me, it was like, wow, I was completely in a totally different field. I was coming from a field of e-commerce. And this was just a tool, like a thing for me, like brushing the teeth. So I was just, maintaining my own body basically and enjoying while doing that. And so, towards the end of my thesis, though, I all of a sudden had this desire to start doing something and building something bigger, something that would be based on my passion, something that would outlast me, if that makes sense. And, I started reading lots of books on this, and all the books I read said, well, look at what you like, look what comes naturally to you, and, build on that. And while it is a good advice, it is, I would say, oversimplified a little bit and sometimes a bit confusing, I must say. At least in my case, it was. Because I'm a person of many passions. I can draw well, I can dance well, I like geeky things. I had a lot of things that I liked. But, fitness for me always came easy. And while I didn't really have that much interest in it, just because I was doing it consistently, I thought, okay, let me just, try to build something on that. And that started a rabbit hole because I started learning how to, create Instagram, how to make videos, fitness videos, and without really, trying to dig deeper and understand, is that really what I want to convey to? Is it really what I want to build?
Mhm.
Is it was really what is my passion that I should make it a foundation on. And yeah, I tried to do that for about a year, and while having a child, a family, and that also demanded attention from me. And very shortly, I came to be extremely stressed, burnt out, because I still held a full-time job while trying to do this on the side. Things didn't go as easily as I hoped. I wasn't the fitness star I saw myself to be. um,
Not the next Jane
it
Fonda.
was some interest, yeah, but it was far, far away from what I wanted. But
Yeah.
what happened was that because the schedule was very tight, I had very small intervals of free time that I could do, for example, videos and promote it. And in the middle, my daughter, was everything felt like everybody's bothering. Nobody lets me really do what I want to do. So I became very stressed, very aggressive, very not nice. Not a nice. I felt like I'm becoming a not nice person. I'm driven, have this urge, but I'm not doing it in a proper way. But I really didn't know myself that well, and I just like, because my character is, I set a goal and I just go and achieve it. I put all my force to it, and, ignore all the signs that are telling me, hey, you might not be going the right direction. Slowly, I started feeling, so I was hitting 40 at that time. And I did not know anything about perimenopause. And I did not know anything about physical pain. Sure, I broke a bone here and there, but in terms of like having aches, pains, I was fine. I never experienced anything like that. And all of a sudden, one day, after I was doing a lot of things and exercising extra because I needed also to do the exercising videos, I started feeling pain in my neck, and I didn't think much of it. I just waved it off, kept going, kept going. And it didn't disappear. It became worse and worse and worse, to the point I couldn't turn my head anymore. I didn't know what to do. So I went to the doctor. The doctor couldn't really say anything. And so I was left to my devices. I thought maybe I'm sleeping wrong or something like that. So I changed position. I changed that. Nothing. Basically, to make it a long story short, I started having sharp nerve pains that went into the arm and numbed like 3 fingers on my arm. Within, I'm talking about like 3 weeks, not even 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And I never knew what type of pain is that, but the pain was so sharp that I was already unable to work. I was unable to do anything. I was constantly in a terrible pain that was shooting nonstop from this area. So we went again to the doctor, but the doctors in Netherlands, I don't want to say anything. The doctors have their place, but basically they simply did not know what I have and didn't think that it warrants further investigation. Just gave me painkillers and sent me back home to rest. But after some time, I simply couldn't work anymore. So at work, I had to say, well, what is it that I have that I cannot work anymore? And I didn't know what I have. So long story short, I needed to do an MRI. So we went and paid privately for MRI, at least to see what is it in my neck that I have. And the MRI revealed that I have a slipped disc in the neck that actually corresponded to the numb fingers that I had, which at least had some explanation of why I have this pain, but they don't suggest anything. So they just tell you, this is what you have, but what to do with it? What do you do with it?
Right.
This is just a center that does MRIs, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was sent home with an awful pain, no clue what to do with this, and inability to sleep, to function. I'm talking about very bad situation.
So how
It
did you even,
yeah.
if I may ask,
Mhm.
how did you have the courage to even get up in the morning? I mean, you're
Uh,
not sleeping, you're in
yeah.
pain, you have numb fingers. You already said you're a driven person. So your personality of being driven, it sounds like you're a little bit of a perfectionist. That personality, and then your body says, I'm checking out. We're not going to help you right now. Basically, you're in so much pain. I mean, how, how
I
did
was
you have the courage?
I was very angry and blaming everybody. That's the
Yeah.
first thing. I was playing the blaming game to whoever could listen to me. I was in a dark place, basically. What gave me courage to get up is just simply to, I mean, I didn't see myself living like that. I had to figure out what is it that I have. I have a job, a family, a daughter, a husband. I had to function. And I'm the kind of person that in general, throughout life, I like to be independent in self-care. So I
Hmm.
have my own routines that are maybe not mainstream. So I cut my own hair. I do sort of weird things. I like to do things my own way, basically. And this was simply a trigger for me to go and start to help myself. But because I knew nothing, I literally knew nothing about alternative care or any type of care, just because I was in so much pain, I just started Googling, because now I knew I have a slip disc. At least I knew what I have. And just I'm talking about randomly Googling who can help, because I know that in Holland, the only people to whom you can go directly are alternative chiropractors, acupuncturists, and these are the people you can schedule appointments directly. Everything else is to go through a GP. So I didn't even know what a chiropractor was or what an acupuncturist was, but I was just like blindly Googling my symptoms, and whoever popped up and whoever could accept me, it was Sunday. So it was unlikely that anyone could accept it. I was in so much pain that I simply didn't think I could last through the night. So I Googled and I found a person who did acupuncture and chiropractic adjustments. I had no idea what it is, but he seemed to be able to accept me on a Sunday. And so I was totally grateful. And my husband took me and we went directly to this person who turned out to be, well, somebody who finally gave me something that helped. So that was my first turning point for the slightly better. There will be still many drops on the road, but at least the first thing he said, hey, this is what you have. I can help you. You're going to do 10 days first treatment. You're going to come every day for the treatment. We're going to do acupuncture, then adjustments every day. And then after 2 weeks, you can come every other day. Basically, we will sparse it further. But first, you have to get out of this acute, because I was in an acute inflammation state. And the pain, so he did a treatment. He treated me right there. I mean, acupuncture should not be painful, and it's not painful when a person is, slightly out of balance. It could be tingling a little bit, but nothing. I was in so much pain, like I was being cut into pieces. Just to give you an idea of how much inflammation my body was. It was unreal. I came to him literally like this. I couldn't even stretch my neck. It was bad because by that point it was over 3 weeks already without any help and not being helped at all, basically, apart from painkillers. So he treated, and I remember some people held me because it was so painful. I couldn't even lie still. So, but I'm not going to go into the details. Anyway, I went through the treatment of 10 days, and then I kept going later, and it helped. I
Mhm.
started feeling somewhat better. Still, the numbness would disappear only months after, but the shooting pain was slowly getting lower and lower. But the problem that I had is that I was asking, but okay, it seemed like I had to come to this person forever now.
Right, right. It's a business.
What? Yeah, exactly. How am I to get off the needle, so to speak?
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. How do I become my own person again who doesn't need to come to anyone? And, of course, it's a business, so I'm not blaming anyone, but he was telling me, "Yeah, you can't, you have to come, for maintenance here. We have like 100 people coming for maintenance. And it didn't sit well with me. So because I have this fitness background, right, I was constantly trying to slowly do some exercise. So I understood already that I have to readjust my whole exercising routine, drop that idea of a business because that drove me to not to having health issues. So I stopped with everything and slowly removed completely high intensity because also I later learned that my nervous system was out of whack, and which was causing also insomnias and lots of other issues. So it slowly started also trying to do some exercises by myself. So, I was having because the recovery is never a straight line. Whoever went through, health issues, we know that, well, now we know the recovery is always like, so you are going through periods of it goes down before it goes better. So overall, I was better, but I had a lot of issues with my nervous system because of the situation, the nervous system wasn't feeling confident in my body. So it would cramp and clutch my muscles without me even, like I'm sitting, for example, not doing any exercise. And all of a sudden, my whole back is getting clenched because the nervous system, I later learned, needs to be slowly introduced back into movements. So it feels confident that this is not another instability that it needs to brace me for. So, but I didn't know that. And constantly I was feeling a tightness here, a tightness there. So I couldn't walk even properly because constantly I had to go back to acupuncturist so that he releases these tightnesses so I can normally feel more or less normal. So it wasn't great, but I was able to work already. So I could sit at the table and work at least in my primary work. So
Yeah.
it was slightly going better for the neck, but the problem became the following, that after a few months, I started having pain in the right side of my back. And I never had back pain. Never. I did not even understand what is that. I couldn't differentiate. Is it a muscle pain? Is it some other pain? It was not clear to me. And it would come and go depending on position that I was in or whether I was walking or not walking. It was random. To me, it seemed random and I couldn't understand it. So I was heating it, putting ice on it, doing all those things. Nothing was working, nothing. And in despair, I was like, oh my God, the guy, the acupuncturist would laugh at me, but I have to go to him and say, listen, I also have a problem now in the back.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I realized
A
that
literal pain in your butt.
acupuncture is a marvelous tool in traditional
Yes.
Chinese medicine. It deserves a separate podcast only on that. I learned, of course, once I understood how much it can help. I purchased books. I read a lot about it, how it works. How the energy. What do they believe? Why these things happen? How the energy flows? All the meridians and all these kind of things, right? But so at that point in time, I had no other information of how to help myself, but to go back to this one person who seemed to know what he was doing somewhat at least. So
Yeah.
I went back and yeah, he had to laugh. But okay, so he started also treating my back, which again did something similar. But the problem with the back was much more sinister than the neck. While the neck was really getting much better, the back, I felt like it's getting better a bit and then really going back to exactly the same point where I started. So I was not really getting much better. The treatment helped to breathe for like a week or so,
Mhm.
but then I would move somehow and it would become worse. And I could not figure it out. And he was not, again, not skilled enough maybe, or couldn't basically tell me why is that. So I decided, okay, I need to understand now what is with my back, because again, since I don't have any information of what part is wrong. So I started learning a bit about the anatomy, what part is it? There's a lot of joints. Is it also a disc? Is it something else? So I went to physio. I had, sorry, I'm going to turn off the heating because it's very hot here.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay. So you went to a physiatrist then? Is that where you went to
Sorry, say it
next?
again.
Did you go to a
I think
physiatrist next?
physio is just a person. They help with muscles. They can kind of look at the body, identify some issues. In Holland here, you can go to physio without any problem. Just schedule an appointment. It's like, for example, if you've broken something and you need to restore back your ability to use that muscle or whatever, you would go to physio. They would give you some exercises, and kind of
Okay.
restore the function of your whatever limb was out of out of work or injured.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, we call it physio. I don't know how you call it in the US.
I it sounds
Physio
like physical
is
therapy.
physiotherapist. Yes,
Physical therapy, yeah. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
physiotherapist. Yes. So I went again to a physiotherapist, and he observed me and concluded, based on palpitation and based on pressing on different things. He said, well, what you have is, doesn't matter. It was like facet joint. It's one of the joints in the back that are responsible for rotation of the spine. He says it's not a disc. It's a facet joint inflammation. Basically, the little joint in the back that supposedly lost the cushioning, and
Okay.
that's why the two joints are rubbing against each other, and that creates pain on one side. Okay. I had no idea what facet joint is, so I had to look all of it up later on. But he said, well, do these kind of exercises, and you can only hope for the best because this is not curable. You can only manage the pain. Maybe you need some cortisol shots at some point, but basically that's it. Goodbye.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So um, I was
That
like,
must have been
okay.
devastating.
Yeah, but by that point, I was already not that devastated. I just was like, okay, just another item on the list of things that are wrong with me right now. So I was, yeah, I was devastated, but I never take a person's word for to be the utmost truth. So I thought, cannot be that. It's not manageable. I will make it, disappear. I will make it work.
There's
So
that perfectionism
yeah,
coming through right there.
I know better. I know
Yeah.
better.
I
So,
love it.
okay, I started Googling what's this facet joint, what are exercises to do to prevent this and that and the other. Meanwhile, I was having terrible pain. Again, now I had like shooting nerve pains you know, together with the muscular pain. So now I already could differentiate somewhat different pains. So somehow my back got so weak, and I didn't understand that mechanism yet, but that I couldn't really stand for more than a few minutes, not let alone walk, because I felt such soreness in the back. So on top of the shooting pain of the nerve, also the whole, the muscle around your back, everything felt so sore, like I'd been lifting, I don't know what, while I was just extending for a few minutes. So I had to immediately lie down or bend forward so that the muscles, the erectors could rest a little bit. So it was terrible. And the problem was nobody could explain it. And I didn't understand what the heck is happening to me. But I was trying to cope with it. So I was going to the acupuncture. I was trying to do the exercise. Still, the muscles in the back and the neck were not totally fine. So all of it, meanwhile, I was kind of functioning barely, but sort of. So couldn't really go anywhere. It was mostly lying at home and reading a lot. So that the thing is, this prompted me to start investigating alternative options because I really did not see. Yeah, I forgot to mention that I also, a friend of mine recommended me at the time to go to neurologist because I was having these nerve issues. She said, well, why don't you consult a neurologist, which seemed like a logical advice. And I followed up. I scheduled an appointment with a neurologist, and I had to wait like a month and a half to get to the appointment. And I was very excited when the appointment finally came. And when when I entered the office of the person, and I told him my story, which I thought would touch him somewhat,
Yeah.
he was like smiling in my face, saying, "This is not something we treat. We cannot operate this. Just put your hand like this and take some painkillers. It will go away." That
What?
was it. After After this appointment, that's really, I think this is when it hit me that there is no one out there who was going to save me. No one. And I better start really studying myself, dig deeper, take any course I can on self restoration and why it happens. What is that? And because if not, at that moment, I really felt that my life would be not a great life. It would
Right.
be a life on a couch, pretty much. And that was a bit of a scary thing, but it was also sobering. It was sobering because I stopped expecting medical industry to help me with me. And in the retrospect, I think it was very good that it happened to me. I'm very grateful now for this because it gave me so much more. It just took a while, but it gave me a lot. It opened up a whole new world in front of me, a world that all of a sudden I not only helped me, but also became my passion.
And now you can help other people.
Let's go back to the story. Story hasn't ended yet.
Yeah.
Long story short, the neurologist didn't help, and I kept taking courses, reading books. Then I stumbled upon Ayurveda, the Indian traditional medicine, and it was like mind blowing to me. All this information I was like loving. I took also courses on restoration after injuries, even though I didn't officially have an injury, but it seemed like my body was out of whack a little bit. So needed to understand also what kind of exercises I could do
Right.
to start rehabilitating my body to go back to at least somewhat to how I was. Mind you, the problem was maybe not a problem. Why and what gave me strength to go is because I'm a very active person. Active not only work wise or life wise. I just like movement. My life was up until that point movement. And I like dancing a lot. For me, it gave me energy. I just did not see. So I couldn't dance, of course. I couldn't. You have to understand, I could not walk. At the beginning, I couldn't stand even. And so I felt like I was something that was so crucial to my life was taken away from me. I did not see myself living without it. You see, it maybe a person who is not so much into movement would not feel like that. But for me, it was everything, everything.
A
But
big part of who you are.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna again shorten it a little bit because so long story short, a few months in, I was still struggling with the back. But then one day I woke up, and I'm talking about almost one day. Of course, these things don't happen in one day, and there were already signs, but I ignored them. I started feeling my knees slightly weaker. They started having like a crunching sound. When I was standing up, when I was cycling, I felt like especially on one of the knees, especially on the right side. And at first I thought, nothing. It's okay. It will be okay, right? But at some point it wasn't nothing. It became really not only crunching, but I started feeling pain. And then one day I just woke up and I was like, okay, I cannot walk because the knees were the patella of the knee was
Mhm.
becoming loose, and so I couldn't stretch I couldn't walk up the stairs. I had to like straight go like a duck with straight legs because bending the knee was very painful and uncomfortable. And one knee was worse than the other. So I couldn't already cycle by that point. The only thing was getting better was the neck, but the back and the knees were like terrible. And I felt like, okay, I cannot really, I don't know what to do. So my
Right.
whole body started collapsing. And you have to understand that this is another demonstration of that, the fact that the body is not working in isolation. If one part of the body for prolonged period is not functioning or is not taking the load that it should be taken, the load is then transferred to body parts that are not supposed to carry so much load. So they go out of balance as well. So
Mhm.
basically, the whole distribution of load is incorrect now. And the nervous system is bracing because it senses, our system is wrong. Let's just clutch everything so nothing try to move. And what
Mhm.
happens is that why I also was having this pain in the back muscles, is that basically the nervous system somehow disables the function of abdomen, of the abdomen muscles. So
Mm.
all the load falls on the back. and the back muscles are simply overextended. So that later on explained this pattern that I had, right? The inability to walk for long, and but at that point, when I saw my knees were not fine, of course I went back to the physio to ask him, and he was like, "Well, it's just, how old are you?" I was like, "Well, I'm 42." He's like, "Well, it's likely the age." It's like, "What do
But
you mean
42
the
is
age?"
so young.
Was like exercising daily for years. What age are you talking about? Not 80?
I know.
It's like,
Oh my gosh.
okay. And then now what? And he was like, "Well, you have to do the exercises, lift." So he gave me some exercises and just made the knees worse, made them more painful. So after all these experimentations with different, parties, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna start reading a lot, try different things, basically be my own experimentation bunny.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, I was still going to acupuncturist, trying to, get my exercises correctly. But the knees actually started being a tiny, tiny bit better at some point, because I learned a lot of stabilizing exercises that really started helping the knees. They were still aching from time to time, but slowly, 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 I'm talking about years, not months, years. They started to be a tiny bit better. But the most problem I had, and I would say it until last year, is the back. The back was my biggest mystery, biggest puzzle that I could not unravel for, I would say, 5 years. It was 5 years of trying to understand what is it that I have, and why, for the love of me, I cannot, make it much better.
Hmm.
And the problem is with the back is that it's a really complex structure. The back, I would say, probably is the most complex situation, with the muscles overlaying and all the joints there, and the pain in each of these. It mimics sometimes pains in another places. So it's very difficult to identify the root cause of the problem.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Because it
I
could start in
assume,
one area, but the pain could be
yeah,
in another area,
no,
right?
well, even it could. So the pain can mimic, the disc pain mimics pains in another places. And yes, you can identify, because with the disc pain, it gets worse, when you bend yourself backwards, because the discs compress. But there are many, many more nuances there. And so the problem that the physiotherapist told me, that with facet joint, it kind of fit the bill, because it was indeed only on one side. It didn't go to my leg, but not everything fit exactly the description. But I assumed that since he's a specialist and he told me this is what I have, I kind of assumed that what he knows what he's talking about. And so for years, I didn't question it. I simply thought that my exercises that I was doing for this kind of situation, I simply wasn't doing correctly, or I was overdoing. And that's why I was constantly sliding back into the starting point. And I literally was sliding back into the starting point. I would have stretches of time that I was, again, in a lot of pain, especially when we were traveling and I had to carry something on one, not even on one, like any extra weight would cause terrible pain. So I either, if I wanted to walk for a bit, I had to be, my family would have to distribute the load between them, and I'd have to go without anything. So it was bizarre. Yeah. But last April, I think, we were traveling to Abu Dhabi. I really like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and we were having a very nice vacation. And I again had a slip. A slip. I was painful. It was even painful to swim, and I just hit. I felt like I'm hitting the rock bottom. I really started like asking, what am I missing? Please show me.
Yeah.
The universe, God, help me, because I really need help. I tried for 5 years, 6 years to figure it out. I don't know. I'm missing something. Tell me what it is. And I sat with it, and then I was like, I really had an epiphany. I had an epiphany, and I was like, why did I decide that I have the facet joint problem? Because after a while, I went also to another acupuncturist, a Chinese acupuncturist next to my house, and she told me something that stuck in my head, but I didn't realize it at the time. She told me, well, your hips are imbalanced. Your hips are not aligned. Your hips are misaligned. I was like, what do you mean misaligned? She said, yeah, your hips are misaligned. And then she was also doing some kind of treatment, and it was slightly better. She said, well, you have to keep it kind of straight. I was like, well, how can you live life keeping everything straight? I
Yeah.
mean, I have to sit. I have to. move. I mean, I cannot be always straight, but that thing stuck into me. And I was like, what did she mean with that exactly? And now I was like, I started, with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I started asking different questions, right, related to that. And then I realized that actually my symptoms are more like, not like facet joint, more like sacroiliac joint. It's a joint that connects the spine to the hip. It's these joints on the side, and it's exactly where I had the pain. And I was like, oh, maybe, I didn't fully yet realize it, but I started like investigating more about it. And I said, okay, well, if what I've done until now did not help, I have to try something else. And so I started Googling and researching what kind of exercise I can do if this is what I have. And it was a completely different set of exercise, I must say. And within 4 months, 4 months, I was better than I was for the past 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
you have no idea how great it felt.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, then I was on par with that. I was reading Ayurvedic, a lot of Ayurveda, and understanding the body types, the doshas. I'm not going to go a lot into lingo. If anyone interested, it will be on my site. They can check it out. Basically, it's different types of bodies. We all have different types of bodies. And in Ayurveda, they identified as 3 different energies, doshas. Each one has its own characteristics, not only in terms of the body and predispositions to imbalances, but also like a character almost. It has its own character. You can recognize yourself. So some people are not like a combination of several, but one is always more dominant than the other. The constitution, one is almost like more in the face. Sometimes it could be balanced, and then there are also things you can do to balance both. But when I read, you can do a lot of online tests. Also on my site, there is a small test to identify what type of body you have. And it was so mind-boggling because it explained like 90% of things I suffer in general with throughout even years. And why is that I had this happening to me in perimenopause. And, if I knew that 6 years ago, this would not be, I would not be, this type of journey would not be happening. And this is not something that you need to study for years. It's a simple common sense approach of 5,000 years. It's even older than traditional Chinese medicine. It holds so much wisdom
Mm-hmm.
that I just want to scream from the top of my lungs that everybody go and check it out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is pretty much a story. So from the last April, I started building up, and now I'm no longer going to acupuncture. I'm not going to chiropractor. I'm not
That's
going to
awesome.
physiotherapy. I'm
That's
dancing.
awesome.
I'm dancing regularly and
Yay.
enjoying life again, feeling vital as ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling very happy and want to share it with others. So this was the reason I built my program, very powerful program, where I take women through 3 months of transformation. And this is regardless of the type of symptoms that they have.
Mm-hmm.
It's simply, it's something that anyone in midlife, women, have to go through. We all go through it. We go through the same stages. And the program consists of body, mind, and spirit modules. It's very personalized, and I incorporate lots of interesting tools. I give you only the juicy knowledge, condensed knowledge in a fun way that you do throughout the week, right, in your own speed. And we do like a, check up once a week, a call where a person can ask questions and I can guide directly. And I've already had a few beta clients that gave me superb reviews, and I'm
That's
improving,
great.
improving and improving. And yeah, I just want to save people, women in the same situation or who are just lost in midlife, save them years of suffer and pain. Because
Right.
what I also want to mention is that like midlife and perimenopause for women is not only about hormones. It's a phase where anything inauthentic drops. You are kind of
Hmm.
exposed to who you have to face yourself.
Yeah.
It's a time of radical responsibility taking. It's a time to really understand you on the life. Are you on the right track in life? Are you going where you want to go? Do you know do you even know yourself?
Hmm.
Not to mention all the symptoms and everything. The symptoms are it's just the body's language to tell you, hey, pay attention. Something, you're not doing everything right. And now is the
Right.
time to look at it.
It's all
No?
that mind, body, spirit. I mean, that
Exactly.
combines so much. And I talk about that in my book. I use the words excellence, wellness, and joy in my book. Excellence represents the mind, right? So that we don't have to be complacent with our situation, but we use our mind to outsmart our circumstances, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then wellness is the body. We have an ethical responsibility to treat our body well. And then joy is the spirit, obviously, so mind, body, spirit. I love that approach. I think what you say is so key, especially in women in our 40s, where like, we go to high school and then we go to college or we start a career right then and there, if we go to, start a beauty school or whatever, but you start something so young, like before your mind is even fully functional, like your brain is not
Absolutely.
even your executive function. We don't have that capability till we're 25, but we have a lot of people making these career choices and life choices at 18, and then you get married and you have a
Don't get me
family
started
and
on this. Yeah.
yeah, then you get married and you have a family, and by the time
Yeah.
you're in your 40s, you finally feel, at least for me, I felt like I could finally breathe again. I was like, first of all, when I turned 40, people started taking me a little bit more seriously, which I thought was
Absolutely.
nice,
Absolutely.
but then it's like now I'm closer to 50 and I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to do? What do I need to release in my life? What responsibility can I take to make my life better? And I love that you put responsibility in with like researching your symptoms even. Not that Google doctor is already always right, but you should
No.
know your body. You should know
Absolutely.
what's going on in
Listen,
there.
nobody will care about your body as much as you do. And only
It's
you
exactly
know
like a business.
how you use your body on a day to day. Nobody can know that really. It's just not possible.
Exactly. It's exactly like when you own a business. Nobody cares about that business as much as you do. It's exactly like your body.
Absolutely. And I just want to point out one thing, that I'm not against the mainstream medicine. In fact, I think it's
Right.
wonderful. It's just one side. They're very good at emergency treating. And there has to be I mean, if you break your limb, don't sit and meditate on it. Go. There is a protocol. You can be helped. But where they lack is at the imbalance that happens on an energetic level, because everything that we experience on the physical first starts on energetic. It sends us little cues, a bit more tired, a bit more annoyed, a bit more this and that, but we don't pay attention. We're not taught to notice these things. So then
Mm-hmm.
slowly it accumulates, and it has to get the outlet. The energy is not disappearing. It has to have an outlet. The outlet will be the body. When the body starts having symptoms, it's the disease already in a progressive state. When
Mm-hmm.
we stop treating it, it's already too late a bit, you know?
Right.
It should
Well,
have
the
been
body truly
picked up.
keeps score.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here, where alternative medicine complements that, because they're excellent, and treating imbalances when they're still in an imbalanced state, when they still can be corrected with small adjustments on lifestyle and food and mind work.
Right.
And
It's
together,
so
they're
powerful.
power.
Yes.
Together,
A
they're
powerhouse together.
terrific.
I went to see Dr. Deepak Chopra once.
Whoa.
He wrote Quantum Healing, and I went to
Yes.
see him. He came to
Nice.
Connecticut 2 years ago. He came to Connecticut. I read his book. Oh my gosh. I mentioned him a little bit in my book too. I think he brings so much to the table. You were talking about the Ayurvedic medicine, which is like ancient medicine, but
Yeah,
it's
it's powerful.
so good. There's such a place for that. Of course you want your
Absolutely.
lifestyle. You want the food that you eat. You want, all that stuff. And your mind is where, your mind is like so powerful. We don't even know how powerful it is.
Yeah, it's true. It is all true. Everything matters. Our life choices, how we think habitually, how we think, not like once in a while we have a thought, but habitual thought matters a lot. And it matters what we do in life. If we are, in midlife and we're not using the talents that we need to develop in this life, we're going to hit some roadblocks, and they will be not only mental, they will be also physical for some of us. And again, it's a universe's redirecting you to a correct path. If you know how to decipher these signs, sky is the limit, and I can help you decipher them.
So I think that women they start to go through this identity loss, right? And
Yeah, identity
perimenopause,
crisis is a
this
big one.
identity, and we don't talk about perimenopause a lot here in the United States.
Well, also here,
I don't
nobody's talking about.
yeah, I don't think that they do in the Netherlands either. How would you define identity loss in the context of perimenopause?
Yeah, so identity loss is just another symptom. I know some people who in perimenopause have some women who have no physical symptoms, but are in a terrible identity loss. And this is also a symptom because you have to understand that the symptoms we get are they right for us. The universe doesn't give you symptoms that are not right for you to learn whatever you need to learn. It gives you something because it is very precise and specific needed for your growth. Because we're here to grow. We're not here to stay stagnant and be attached to what we accumulated. We have to grow, and it wants us
Hmm.
to grow. But if we're resisting or we're taking the wrong path, it will try to redirect you in a specific way that's right for you. So for some people, it's identity loss simply. And it's just like a symptom. The root cause needs to be identified. And I use a tool, astral tool.
Yeah.
This is not a prediction. Like this is nothing about crazy forecasts. I don't do that.
Hmm.
By the way, astrology got a very bad rap because it was misused, oversimplified, and got a bad rap. But astrology is an amazing tool if used correctly. It can give you an understanding to a person's soul, essentially, his path, where he is going in this life, what are the strengths, the weaknesses, what are the karmic themes that a person needs to work on. And if
Hmm.
you know this, it's essentially like giving somebody a map to himself. And
Right.
when you give it to someone, it's incredible. I wish somebody gave it to me because I was definitely on the wrong path, trying to get into the wrong door, trying
Yeah.
hard to push, 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 but it was the wrong door for me. If I only known, but I didn't know. So this tool I also give as part of my program. It's a last module of spirit. I'm diving deep, especially if a person comes with some patterns or some
Yeah.
specific question. But even if without specific question, I just give an overall portrait of a person. And I also focus on something that's called karmic journey. Just a brief introduction to this. It's something that's called North Node and South Node. It's not a
Okay.
planet. It's a position on the moon's journey. South Node is basically what we came, the baggage and the knowledge that we carry from previous lives. We come into this life, and this is the most available energy we have. We start using this energy for the first half of our lives. But the whole point of, of life, we're not going to be in a comfort zone. This is what we have, but we have a path, which is a North Node. North Node is the energies that are less familiar to us, but something we need to acquire throughout our life. And the nodes, they switch at the end of 30s, beginning of 40s. Some people have it slightly bit later, maybe mid to 50s. The nodes switch. And what happens that's where we all have this midlife crisis because we are used to using our energies from south node, which is what we know, and it worked for us before, and we do not understand why keep doing the same thing that we knew and worked for us doesn't work anymore. And so we try to keep using it, keep using it, keep using it, but that's exactly what's not needed.
Yeah.
We need to switch. And the life starts to push us slightly to the other side. Hey, I want you to go that way, not this way. I want you to learn this, not this. And that's where, the symptoms, it all overlays one on top of the other. And the identity change, I think everybody has it, not only women, men have it. But I think
Right.
women have it worse because we also have perimenopause on top of that.
Yeah.
And
What
men
are some
have some hormonal stuff, but maybe not that extreme. But identity crisis happen, almost to everybody, unless, the person is very enlightened and already, comes with a very prepared baggage, so to speak. But for
yeah,
regular folks, it's a difficult period.
you know,
So,
what
and if
are
you
some
know
of the
that,
first signs?
sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. What are some of the first signs a woman might be experiencing identity shifts rather than just hormones?
Well, I mean, I think we are trying to explain everything with hormones. It's like hormones now got also a bad rap. Everything we don't understand, oh, it's the hormones. Oh,
Right.
it's the hormones.
It's your
I
age, it's
mean,
the hormones.
yeah, it's
It's
the OH, the hormones. I mean, the hormones are hormones. Yeah, sure, they lower, the cycle ends, and we experience something. But I mean, that thing is one thing, but the identity change is another thing. It just it happens, I would say, in parallel. You could say, and again, some people simply because of their constitution have less physical signs than others. But identity change happens. Well, if I looked at a person's chart, I could tell from which energy and into which he has to go. And if he's not going there, he will have identity crisis. That's why information is so crucial because I can simply give you keys.
Mhm.
And not only giving you keys, it's not like you're gonna sit and oh, okay, I got the information. No, I'm giving you keys, but you are responsible. Which again, the responsibility word comes here. You're
Yeah.
responsible to use this knowledge and work on yourself. Now that you know, to work on yourself to go to that direction, and the identity crisis will slowly, you know, will start. The things will start crystallizing for a person, if not immediately slowly, but when you do it with purpose, with trust, and you start changing the perspective. We all have to change the perspective. This phase is not only physical nuisance that we have to numb. It's not. If we really want vital life beyond this, we have to take radical shifts, not numbing the symptoms. It's like, like nobody likes pain, obviously. But without pain, we would be in trouble. We would kill ourselves because we have no feedback from the environment. Pain is feedback that we need to keep ourselves alive. It's the same. It's just pain on a larger scale, on identity scale. But one of the things that I recommend is to start tuning down the noise. We listen to a lot of news. We're constantly bombarded with information from everywhere. It doesn't help us to understand ourselves. This phase requires tuning down the noise and going within. When we are quieting ourselves down, we start listening to our soul. The soul speaks. It's not speaking loudly. It's whispering. But to hear its whisper, we have to be calmer. We have to be quieter. Now, when we start, and this is also something I'm teaching in my program, is how to listen to your intuition, right? How to really trust it. It's also a practice. The person who is not used to trusting himself will have troubles at the beginning. But it's a practice. It's like a muscle, like everything. It can be worked on and can be improved. The only thing is right is the intuition. That's the only thing we should be relying on. Because the intuition is basically it's the nudge from your higher self that already knows your path, already knows where you should be going. And it's little nudges. It's not going to put you straight away, drop you in the cold waters. It's going to first turn you, and for you, it will not make sense. But but you have to understand that the identity change doesn't happen overnight. Identity change builds up from different things. For example, you start wanting to acquire something you never wanted to acquire before, and you're like, why do I need it? It costs a lot of money. No, I'm not gonna buy it for myself. But you now just now prevented yourself from being one step higher towards your new identity. Because the new identity has different wants, has
Mhm.
different things, has different people around, and doing different things. So it takes time. You need to understand how to move, how to listen. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's how.
I love that because you talk a lot about responsibility, personal responsibility, and you talk about, taking of your mind, right? Control, like listening to your mind, like numbing the chaos,
Yeah.
and when we say numb the chaos, we don't mean get drunk. We don't
Yeah.
mean get high. We mean like step away from the TV, step away from the loud
Yes.
noises, go
Correct.
meditate by yourself, have some time by yourself, really
Just
listen to your
prioritize yourself.
spirit.
Prioritize.
Right.
We need to, as women, we need to start prioritizing ourselves. We always prioritize children, husbands, works, and we are somewhere at the end of the lineup, somewhere when there's time, and then that's where we are. No, Now we have to put ourselves in the first place. It's really a must at this point. Just do that and everything will rearrange around that. And if, a person next to you does not support that, well, it's another question. Is that really the right person?
It's so important for you just to take some time to like, do some. I have a friend who does coffee and contemplation in the morning, right? He just like sits there and thinks, for myself, I get up in the morning and I do my devotional, and I try to sit there and pray to God and listen to my inner mind, what's going on, what thoughts are in there that I need to clean up, what thoughts are there in there that I need to get rid of.
100%.
How do we change this negativity? Is it really truthful? You know, um, and I love how you say we need to prioritize ourselves. It's not being selfish when we care for ourselves like this. This is self care.
It's
These moments that we
non-negotiable
have
now.
by ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's like, when you're in the plane and there is something, God forbid, something happens and you have to put the mask. Who do you put the mask first, on yourself or on your child?
yourself.
Because if you don't put on yourself, you can't help your child.
That I love that. Oh my gosh, so much good stuff here, Ira. So much for women. Let me think. For women's, no, no, never mind. Sorry about that.
No problem.
What daily habits have you adapted in your lifestyle that have helped you live courageously through this perimenopause phase?
Well, actually, I had this already for like 30 years. It hasn't changed. It just the type of things I do changed. I exercise, I move daily. Now,
Love it.
I move daily with joy. I don't do forced exercises, nothing like I don't count reps. I don't follow any of the mainstream gurus, none of that. Because when you understand, first of all, who you are, what you like, what type of body you have, you can build your own routine that fits you like a glove. And this is one of the reasons that I stick with it. It's because I
Hmm.
actually look forward to it daily. If somebody tried to impose some routine on me that didn't come from me, I don't think I could enjoy it. I don't think it would be even good for me. So I do it daily. I take about, I don't know, 45 to an hour. It depends how I feel, sometimes less, sometimes more. And, if I had done some dancing also the night before, then maybe the exercise will be slightly lighter. It depends how I feel in general. But I do something daily. And even when I'm traveling, because like I said, I'm one of my mm, biggest values is freedom.
Yeah.
I do everything because I value freedom beyond anything else. So freedom in, being taking care of myself, freedom of
Hmm.
traveling, a freedom of not being tied to, I don't know, this or that or the other, right? So when I travel, I'm not tied to gyms. I'm not tied to anyone. I can do it anywhere. I only need a square of space in the hotel and I have a perfect setup for any exercise that I want to do. So I do it anywhere. It gives me vitality, I think, happiness. It's like my meditation. It's my daily meditation. I don't meditate, even though maybe I should acquire that as well. It's great if some people can do it. I'm not at that stage yet, but this is my meditation. I try not to think about things, just put the music I love and do my thing. And then I emerge a renewed person.
Well, that sounds like meditation to me.
Exactly. I think so too. I think so too.
That sounds like meditation to me. Yeah. I think that people do it differently, and if it gets the purpose done where you can
Exactly.
decrease the chaos and do some introspective work, I think that's really important. Very,
Absolutely.
very important.
Absolutely.
If our listeners could remember one thing from today's show, what would you say it should be?
That they should not forget that they're extremely empowered and they can do a lot for themselves. A lot. They are not powerless and they don't even need 5-year medical degree. And that's the one thing I want them to remember. And it's yeah, that's I think the most important.
Ira, I just thank you so much for sharing your testimony
Thank you so
with
much.
us. It was so it's such a like, and this is the second time I've heard it, and I still I felt my body like react to it, like, oh my God,
Oh,
I
I'm
can feel that
sorry.
pain, like I can feel that pain, and then you're getting better, then you're getting worse. I mean, just to take us on this journey with you, and of it's just been amazing. Thank you so much. And thank
Thank you
you
for having me.
for the passion that you had to research and find this out, and for this program that you're offering our women. You guys can all go to her website. It's
Power,
www.peripower,
power.
peri, peripowerful.com. I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on
Thank
Live
you
Life
for having
Courageously
me. It was my
today.
pleasure talking to you.
I also thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. I know there's a lot of podcasts to choose from, and I am honored that you are listening to us today. I will place all of her information in the show notes. Please remember to follow, like, and share. This really helps us. We also love reviews, and join us next time as we speak with Ellie Hyvenen, who will discuss courage to recover from emotional eating. Until next time, live life courageously.
Thank you.